The Dallas Cowboys made a fatal mistake this offseason, and not only is it biting them in the butt right now, they are being reminded of it every single week because this player has been the best running back in football. So I'll break it down and much more in this episode of Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody, to Cowboys Digest. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and today we'll be talking about the fatal mistake that was made by the Dallas Cowboys this offseason, and that is in the form of Derrick Henry, who is having a great start to his season. After a couple of rough games, he had a get-right game against the Dallas Cowboys' horrible defense, and ever since then, he's looked like vintage Derrick Henry, capping it off with an 87-yard run yesterday in primetime on Sunday Night Football against the Bills, who are 3-0. So, yeah, this guy's kind of special, and he's been one of the best running backs of this generation. Maybe Jerry Jones should have gave him a call, but let's get straight into it. Before we do that, make sure to hit the subscribe button because 85% of you watching are not subscribed, and it would mean the world to me if you could go ahead and do that. So, it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out a ton, so it would mean the world to me. But let's get straight into it here. Derrick Henry had 199 rushing yards tonight. Henry this season, 480 rushing yards, 6 yards per carry, and the Cowboys as a whole, 301 rushing yards, 3.5 yards per carry. Henry lives in Dallas. He wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. Jerry Jones didn't even entertain it. A reminder, Jerry is a bad GM. And we go over here. A lot of teams did not sign Derrick Henry, but only the Dallas Cowboys bragged about it. And this is a case of arrogance getting the best of Jerry Jones yet again. I guess I would be arrogant too if my team was worth $10 billion. But I don't have a football team, so I don't have a reason to be arrogant. And Jerry Jones is still living in the past here. He wants to get the Cowboys back to those heights, but he doesn't want to spend money in the offseason unless it's to keep guys that are already in-house that have not helped you achieve goals that you have with this roster. I understand that maybe you're hesitant to give a running back all that money and you want to go dumpster diving, fine, whatever. But it's not like you have a world beater of an offensive line. It's not like they're creating any opportunities for Rico Dowdle or Ezekiel Elliott. And not only has he said he likes the group, he's doubled down and said, I really like what we're doing here. I think we have the right pieces in place. Jerry, what are you watching on a weekly basis? All I need to see is Derrick Henry going for 150 every Sunday, and I know that you made a mistake. And it's okay to acknowledge that you make mistakes, but Jerry Jones makes a lot of mistakes, and he's not acknowledging this one yet again. And just, again, everyone is coming out and saying that this was the right move for the Dallas Cowboys to make. And Skip Bayless came out, of course he came out and said, I pounded the table for the Cowboys to sign Derrick Henry, who lives in Dallas and wanted to be a Cowboy. Ravens got a steal for only $8 million. We got the highest paid player in NFL history, Dak. They got Derrick Henry to join a QB better than Dak. Look at him now. Well, in fairness, Jerry, on this one, they have the same record as the Baltimore Ravens. They're 2-2. And yes, Lamar Jackson is better than Dak Prescott, but they're different. They're different players. If you were to ask me who I would rather take on my team, Lamar Jackson, 1,000%. But let's not slight Dak here. That is the going rate for a quarterback who finishes second in MVP voting. Lamar is going to get his once he hits free agency yet again. And Dak got paid, rightfully so. It was either him or it was Cooper Rush for this season. I would rather have Dak Prescott, if I'm being quite honest with you. So I'm not buying too much stock into that. And this was another tweet here. They were literally in Dallas. It should be football malpractice. Cowboy fans might have a civil suit on their hands. Fire Jerry, the GM. Again, that is fully dependent on Jerry Jones firing himself, which is something that he is not going to do. And I wish he would, but he would never give up that kind of power. And I wish he would hire Bill Belichick, but Bill Belichick requires some sort of say in what goes on in the front office, and that is never going to happen as long as Jerry Jones is at the helm. That's why Mike McCarthy has been in place for so long. That's why Jason Garrett was in place for so long. These are yes men that don't have any say on who or who isn't on the roster. And yet again, Jerry Jones wants his fingerprints all over this thing. He had a chance to get this on his team. Derrick Henry, a multiple time All Pro running back, a guy who leads the league in yards so far this season through 4 weeks, averaging 120 yards per game on the ground, 6 yards per carry. Is that good? You tell me. He had an 87-yard run yesterday on the first play from scrimmage for the Baltimore Ravens. Is that good? You tell me. I think it's pretty damn good. I really do. And Derrick Henry would have looked really nice in some Cowboy threads, man. He would have. But we're never going to get to see that. Because Jerry Jones' arrogance got the best of him yet again. He lets Tony Pollard walk, fine. I'm okay with that. But do something to address the situation. Don't push everybody up by one on the depth chart. That is not how you go about this. And that's what Jerry Jones did. He pushed up Rico Dowdle to the number 1 spot. He brought in a 30-year-old Zeke Elliott, whose best days are far behind him. I mean, what are we talking about here? And Derrick Henry showed some promising signs last year. Maybe he's not the same runner that he was earlier in his career when he first broke in, but still looks pretty damn good to me. He really does. And would have looked nice in some Cowboy threads. No doubt about that in my mind. I mean, this is all you need to see. He has more rushing yards by himself than the Dallas Cowboys do all season long. And he lives in Dallas. He wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. What more does Jerry Jones need to pull the trigger on a move like that? It's $8 million. It's not $80 million. It's not a long-term contract. It is a one-year deal that would have made your team significantly better. And you chose to gloat that you didn't need him. And now he's rubbing it in your face, as is every football fan across the National Football League. They are rubbing it in your face because he is doing things that most people on planet Earth cannot do, that most running backs in the National Football League cannot do. And it doesn't matter. He is able to do those things on a regular basis. Who cares if he's on the wrong side of 30? Like, he is legit. He's one of the best running backs of this generation. And the Ravens got a steal for $8 million. Him and Lamar Jackson in the backfield is an absolute nightmare. I'm surprised that they're 2-2. I thought they should have been 3-1 or maybe even 4-0 at this point of the season. But here they are, 2-2. Derrick Henry is starting to come into his own. He's finding himself yet again, and he's special. He's special, and he would have been just as good in the Dallas Cowboys backfield. That'll wrap it up for this episode of Cowboys Digest. Thank you so much for making it this far. Let me know in the comments down below. Did the Cowboys make a fatal mistake? More importantly, did Jerry Jones' arrogance get the best of him yet again? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you tomorrow.